Harriet Tubman deserves a monument in Washington, D.C. because she was an African slave woman who helped free over 300 slaves. Also, she made 19 trips to the South and escorted over 300 slaves to freedom. She worked in the Underground Railroad, which was a system of tunnels that would help fugitive slaves hide and escape to the North. She influenced a lot of people, such as Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, James Channing, and more. Although she was Christian, she rejected the New Testament when it says, "Slaves obey your earthly masters, and fear, with trembling, with a sincere heart as you would Christ." She believed that blacks were just as important as whites, and she also believed that women were just as important as men. After the Civil War, Susan B. Anthony, Elizabeth Cady, Harriet Tubman all became strong advocates and leaders for the women's rights movement. She was also a spy and nurse during the Civil War. Because she knew the land well, they made her a spy. And it was even harder for her to guide soldiers and slaves because she could not read or write. And she would constantly pass out because of an incident where her master hit her in the head with a bar, so she'd constantly fall asleep even though she was not tired. She was nicknamed Moses of her people in relation to Moses of Egypt, who led the Jews to a land of promise. She was nicknamed Moses because she led the slaves to a land of freedom. If we are willing to give Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. a monument for playing a huge role in the civil rights movement, then we should give Harriet Tubman a memorial for playing a big role in the civil rights movement and in women's rights. And she had two disadvantages. She had many health issues, and she could not read or write. So she had a disadvantage, and she still came through making a difference in many people's lives and influencing lots of people. This monument is supposed to represent Harriet Tubman in Dorchester, Maryland, which is where she was born. And you can see that she's pointing north, and there's an arrow, and that says to Canada. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a piece like this that looked like Canada. So this is supposed to represent the cabins that they lived in as slaves. And you can read that it says, "In honor of Harriet Tubman," and this is supposed to represent her leading people towards the north. And I put some trees in the background just as decoration, and I also put a little border around it